What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Stamina Break. We're here with another podcast. This one's going to be a little bit different than last time. I know our previous one was more about, like, updates, talking about new games coming out. This one, we're going to... Oh, before I get scolded again, I'm the Gecko, or Aaron.
Oh, you remember? I actually forgot this time. I actually forgot.
Well, I was about to go straight into it, and I was like, oh, he's going to say something again.
Actually, no, I was just listening to what you were saying. I totally forgot. I was just like, all right.
Well, shut up and introduce yourself then before...
I'm the Chameleon. Hi, how's it going?
All right, so today for our podcast, we're going to talk about controllers versus mouse and keyboard.
Which one do you think is better? Why? Depends on the game.
Well, just interactions with it in general, like using it, like a controller for PC, or the ability to use keyboard and mouse on consoles.
This is going to be a very divided podcast because the PC master race, you can do
All right,
a lot more interactions than.
So for me, it's not even about that. Like just it. So up until like recently, where we started playing a lot more PC games, I was very pro console, pro controller, because I'm very good with the controller.
You're used to it.
It's comfortable. I'm used to it. Now that we play a lot more PC, especially like Battlegrounds, like, when I'm not playing with you, I play Battlegrounds.
Right.
I run solos on Battlegrounds constantly. I've gotten to the point now where I'm equally as comfortable with a mouse and keyboard as I am the controller. And when I do pick up a controller, everything feels super sluggish. Like, my sensitivities, like, I already played with a way higher sensitivity than you did on every game we play.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally even higher now because I got so used to the sensitivity of the mouse.
Because you can react faster. You can spin around faster with your mouse than you can with the controller. See, with me, the one thing that... like when we've been playing Battlegrounds recently, because you've started getting me into the fact of using first person to actually kill people or get into engagements, like going into first person. But the problem is, like, for me, when I'm playing, and I'm using, WASD to move and stuff, and then I'm like, okay, go into oh crap, somebody's around me. I'm panicking. I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, go into first person. Crap, I just changed my idle. Crap, I just crouched. Where's the damn button? Okay, there we go.
So, here's the thing about that. That's completely your own fault because you're not familiar enough with your keyboard to know where your keys are.
I don't have the gaming keyboard.
Well, I mean, even every keyboard, freaking V is still in the same place. I mean, that's still your own fault for not knowing where the V key is.
And also, I'm in a panic too because I'm like, oh crap, he's around the corner, he's around the corner, crap. And I'm panicking so much. But for me, it's just, I don't know. It's just like, I have a easier mind of, okay, I want to go, say I want to go into first person or something. I just, click on the joystick and I'm in first person rather than like stretching my thumb out to.
So one thing I'm considering getting for myself is, instead of having the full keyboard, getting one of those ones that has like
the programmable keys.
Well, they have a joystick for your thumb. And then they have certain keys, like what would be your sprint, your crouch, your prone, stuff like that. And it has like 16 to 20 keys that your pointer through pinky would be able to interact with. But you have a joystick for your actual movement, and then you can still have a mouse with that.
But okay, so that you're starting to get into like a customizable keyboard. Do you think that would be getting away? You're talking more going towards the elite of gaming, going to your own.
So
setup.
I would be going to what I would consider like a hybrid setup where it's kind of a keyboard but also kind of a controller, because you have the joystick, which I prefer the joystick for my actual movement more than WASD, because like WASD, I feel like my fingers are super like cramped in that tiny little space as I'm like.
Plus, as you're listening to the Twitch channel and stuff like that, all you hear is like.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that would, and I mean, they do make those. They're all over. Like, I could go to Best Buy right now and pick one up. So I wouldn't really say it's like customizable per se. I mean, it is to a point, because you still have to like a lot of times program the keys. Like, I want this one to be my sprint, this one to be my crouch, stuff like that. But that's any keyboard. You can do that with a regular keyboard too.
Right, but I mean, again, like I said, you're going more into the, more advanced gaming, or what's the term I'm looking for? Like more of the uh, game competitions, almost like level of reactions there, rather than just, hey, I'm normal Joe Blow, and I'm just going out and buying this game to come home and play it on my own computer. So,
well, right, but okay. So here's the thing: like the bottom line, like you and I, if you and I were to face off, like in any game, we're gonna be about equals on a controller.
mm-hmm.
At this moment in time, I'm pretty sure I'd dominate you with a keyboard and mouse 9 times out of 10.
Okay, that's not fair because we've already agreed that you're better at PvP than I am.
Right. Okay, but well, I'm just saying, like in general, like I mean, yeah, I may be better than you, but there are times that you can best me in PvP if I'm having a bad day or something like that. Or so that's what I'm saying. Like if it was a level playing field as far as like skill level, in the game itself, like let's say like we were equally good at a PvP game, and it came down to just our experience with the controller and our experience with the mouse and keyboard. You and I have about the same level of experience with the controller, so we're both equally comfortable with it. We're both equally good with it. But I would say like I have more skill with the mouse and keyboard than you. Like just like as an example, like in Battlegrounds, you leave every long range engagement to me because you can't shoot for crap at any sort of distance in the game.
That's why I like close quarters.
Right, but but at the same time, like again, a lot of that is just like the minute mouse details. Like as far as like moving the mouse, you can't do that with a controller. Like that's one thing that like drives me nuts. Like again, when we're playing Fortnite, I love to sit back and pick the guys off. It literally is stressing me the heck out half the time because I'm sitting there like, all right, there's the head, and I was like, crap, I just shot him in the chest because I can't like no matter how like minute I move the joystick, it's still like compared to Battlegrounds where it's just my smallest little movement, and I have my button that'll slow my mouse down so much that I can make those tiny little details. You can't do that with a controller. So and instead of getting headshots constantly, I'm like chest, head, arm.
So that goes more into the sensitivity of the.
But it doesn't, because it doesn't matter what my sensitivity's on. Like okay, so I mean, let me rephrase that. It does. The problem with that is like with the mouse, I can it's a lot more my hand control that's affecting my sensitivity. Yeah, I can slow it down or speed it up, but it's still how I move my hand that does it. With Xbox or a controller in general, yeah, you can change your sensitivity, however you want. And like if I lower it a lot, yeah, I can do that slow movement that'll get me that shorter distance. But then when I like go to like turn to another engagement, it's like
right.
Okay, I'm finally there.
Well, that's why like some games they have like scope speed versus your regular sensitivity. But before we get into that kind of stuff, so if they make the controller, the controller joysticks more sensitive, so all you'd have to do is move that fine little, bit on your thumb, would that make the controller better than a keyboard?
At this point in time, I would say no. Okay, so ideally for me, this is for me. I don't know about and this maybe this is going into too much like you said the more elite side of gaming. Like if I could have the left side of a controller in my left hand and a mouse in my right hand, I feel like I would be a million times better at a lot of different games.
So you want the buttons and everything, the A, B, X, Y, or triangle, square, X, circle, depending on whatever you use. You want that to be in your left hand, and then have
I would want that like on. So like that's one thing I need to do with my mouse, is because I have those customizable keys on my mouse. I don't use any of them. The only one I use is the one that slows my speed down, and then left click, right click, and mouse wheel. And then I use my left hand for crouch, sprint, jump, whatever. Which is fine. Like, and that's what I was saying. Like that one where I have a joystick on my left thumb for my forward, back, side step left, side step right. and then I have, those keys to do whatever I want, to sprint, crouch, all that. I think that is, like, at this moment in time, I think that's the ideal way for me to play. Now, I will say, having left trigger as, like, aiming in, to me, I love that. Like, it's comfortable, it's normal, because, we do play console so much that, that's still comfortable to me. So I would, because there's a lot of times where I either, hold in right click or click right click when I meant to do the other one. Like in Battlegrounds,
right.
where, hold it in, it kind of zooms in, but it's still third person, click it, it's first person scoped in. And a lot of times I do the wrong one. Like if it's like a quick, like where I have to make a snap decision about it, and I'll like do the wrong one, and it's like, shit, I just scoped in when I meant to stay third person to, for that engagement. And it's actually got me killed several times.
You should probably change it to like the middle mouse button click is scope in, and then click on the right is.
The problem is, like, since I've already been training, with the right click being that way, it'd be super. I'd be like, why is this scoping in? He's right there. I just want to shoot him.
Well, that's like what I did on StarCraft and stuff when I changed my setup finally. It was just like, pressing the wrong button. And now when you're like, press V, I'm like, no, my setup's different. I just pressed the wrong button.
I mean, that's, I feel like it's kind of your fault for messing with your own hotkeys.
Hey, I like that setup that I have now.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is, Salamander or Paul actually uses your grid setup now.
Did he change?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he still has it, but he did change it and at least try it. But I mean, it makes sense because it makes, everything the same across the board. But when you're like us, where you have like your race that you normally play with, I'm used to those ones.
But yeah, I mean, we're starting to get into the fact of, we're playing all three, but that's on a different subject here. Yeah. We're getting off topic here.
Well, not really, because we're still talking about the customization of the keyboard, which is another thing I like compared to the controller is
you can customize any button to do anything. Yeah. Versus the controller, you're pretty much stuck with
super limited to. Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think developers do a fantastic job of, with the number of keys they have to work with, they do a great job of customizing, the different things you can do. But that frees up a lot of things for like PC developers because they have, you can press this key combination and do, 10 things more than you could on Xbox because you have the programming capability for that. Now I will say, like, I like that now Microsoft, to the best of my knowledge, hasn't done this, which is something I'm kind of surprised about considering like how far usually Microsoft is ahead of Sony in this type of thing. But Sony actually has a adapter that they have. It literally like is a USB, plugs into your console, and then it has a hub that you plug in a mouse and keyboard to, and you can play any game.
Are you sure Xbox doesn't have that?
They may. I've only seen it on now. You can do that with Xbox with an aftermarket one, but to the best of my knowledge, Microsoft doesn't actually market one for it. Sony, they don't make the hub that I'm talking about. Sony doesn't. It's a different company that makes it, but they advertise it and sell it through their
website,
through Sony's website, which is something I don't think Microsoft does.
So, the mouse versus, or keyboard and mouse versus controller. Again, this gets on a touchy subject. Yeah, I can't talk. This gets on a touchy. I can't.
What do you do with your life, man?
I don't know. This gets on a touchy subject, but do you feel the mouse and keyboard is a better reaction time versus the controller, or would you say it's more skill, depending on which one you use? To me, when you look at it, it makes sense that, you would have a faster reaction time on a keyboard because there's so many more options.
It's not even about your reaction time, because your reaction time is going to be the same with either one. It's how you react with those things. Because if you, well, and I've seen you do this, and I've seen me do this, but you are a lot worse about it than I am.
Panic disorder.
Yeah, and that's the thing with a mouse. Like you go from like, oh crap, there's something, and you're like, why, all over the place because you can't figure out what's going on. With the controller, you don't have that option, so you're more like you're slowly like kind of panicking, and
you
so
can still do that with controller,
right? But it's not nearly as bad as it is. Like it's one thing when you're like a little bit with your Xbox. With a mouse, you're literally like, why, like everywhere.
Well, yeah, I still remember the time. What game was it? You cranked up my sensitivity like flipping crazy, and it was just like I got scared or spooked by something, and I literally took my character and did a 360 back to the same point I was looking at because you cranked up my sensitivity so much. I think it was the forest or something like that.
Was I playing on your machine or something? Why would I have done? Oh no!
I think it was
it was when I had told you to. You cranked up your own sensitivity and you weren't used to it yet.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Or it was Minecraft or something like that.
No, it was the forest, and you got attacked for the first time since you upped your sensitivity. And
I spun around in a circle because I was just like, oh.
But that's the way games have always been. I've always played with a way high, like Call of Duty on Xbox. Like back when we used to play it a lot, I would usually run like a sensitivity of like I don't even remember what it was,
9.
But like when it was like Black Ops, which is probably the one I was best at, it only went up to 10, and I played with an 8 or a 9, and I'm pretty sure you played with like a 3 or a 4, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's really all games where I've always had that higher sensitivity because that's what I'm comfortable with.
That's probably why you're better at PvP than I am.
That's probably very true. Well, I mean, even Destiny, like, I kept my sensitivity, I know, higher than yours.
Yeah. I usually don't even go into the game settings and up my sensitivity unless I really feel sluggish. But if it's fine on the default settings, I just leave it as it is. I don't even touch it.
You know, and that's the thing, I have to. Because even before, like, we got super into PC, I always felt, like, really sluggish on default sensitivity settings.
See, the one thing that's always that I haven't liked, whether it's, you know, the controller or the mouse and console, is the fact that when I crank up the sensitivity on either one of them, it's like, yeah, I can look around and zoom around the map, but the problem is it's like I can look left, right, up, down really, really fast, but then I feel like my character is just like slow-mo run. And that just bugs the living crap out of me. See, if it's more matched the same speed as I run, I feel more comfortable with the player or the character I'm playing.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's just a little
personal
niche that I like. But
it's, well, and again, that goes more into like, in that regards, it's like you're looking for that visual, what's the word? Like that visual representation of, you know, you want to match your run speed to your turn speed, like, you know, like a normal person would run and turn, you know, as opposed to me, who's, you know, a way more competitive gamer than you, you know, where I like, you know, that competitive edge where, you know, I'm running, get shot, and I can turn quickly and engage, you know, rather than I want my character to look good while they're running and turning and all that.
Make sure to flip my hair back.
Yeah.
As I'm slowly turning around like, hey! And then get shot in the face.
Yep.
Or just panic and swirl around in circles.
So I think what we've learned so far is I used to prefer controllers. And because we can go back to videos and see there are multiple times where, you know, we've talked about it, like, especially for Battlegrounds, about, you know, would we prefer or be better with a controller over keyboard and mouse? And I said originally when we first started playing Battlegrounds, I just watched the video the other day. I said, you know, I think we would both do better with a controller. I now revise that statement and I would say you would probably do better with a controller. I think I would do worse, personally.
Just because of the sensitivity thing.
Just because we've played so much more PC than we have console lately. I mean, now obviously, like, this weekend we did a lot of Fortnite, so I am, like, back to kind of where I was, like, comfort-wise with the controller. Like, when we first started playing Fortnite and I picked up my controller, I was like, oh, this is so weird. Like, it doesn't feel right. But I mean, now, you know, I'm fine, you know, and really, I didn't do bad with it. Now you put a PS4 controller in my hands and punch you in the face, but
ouch.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Both you and I are a lot more comfortable with an Xbox controller than we are a PlayStation controller.
Yeah, but that's just because we've played Xbox enough. But I mean, it's still. I mean, the PlayStation controller is still a comfortable controller.
Yeah,
it's just the fact that when it says press X and we press square on X.
You know what's funny is I don't have as much of a problem with that. I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. I do have that issue. My biggest thing is like when we play Last of Us, where your D-pad is a big part of like your controls, like with your crafting, with your interaction, everything. I'm terrible at, instead of moving my thumb down to the D-pad, I can't get used to moving it up and to the left to interact with the D-pad.
That doesn't bother me at all since I know where it is.
But it's like those like quick interactions where it's like, all right, I want to throw,
a Molotov,
a Molotov, and then like switch back to my gun quick. And then I'm like, I can't do it, and like I have to like sit there and like think about, okay, I gotta press down twice to get to my Molotov, throw it, and I can press left twice to get back to my primary weapon, and like I have to like think about like where I'm putting my thumb, as opposed to like Xbox where like I don't know, and it could just be like familiarity with the game. I don't know. But, like, again, and another thing is, like, the triggers for me on the PlayStation feel super different than the Xbox ones. And so, like, I got Black Ops 3 to play with Lauren on PlayStation. And I just did, like, a few games just on my own just to see how it would do on PlayStation. Now, when we play Black Ops 3 on Xbox, I do incredibly well. I'm almost always positive, blah, blah, blah. I retained being positive, however...
By one kill?
And that was it. Literally, I couldn't get more than one kill positive. I think I got 2 positive, 1 game. But literally, like, I had to... In Xbox, I rarely hip fire for my kills. Like, I've gotten really good at, like, aiming in, getting the kill, and then
getting those snap kills.
Yeah. Can't do that to save my life on PlayStation. I literally, like, had to hip fire. Like, I would, like, empty half a mag trying to aim, and then I'd just go to hip fire and like spray them down.
See, for me, like, PlayStation versus Xbox, I don't know why I do this. Like, for me, the feel of the controller is perfectly fine. I don't mind that. It's just transferring what I know from the Xbox to the PlayStation. That's where, like, that little bit of hesitation, even the stuff like, LB, RB versus R1, L2, R1, L2, whatever.
I still get screwed up with the whole R3, L3. That the joystick is not supposed to be an RL anything.
Well, no, this is the one thing I think is funny, that there's a little bit of hesitation for me, and I don't know why. So when I say LB, RB, left, right.
Yeah.
When I say L1, R1, it's still left, right, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's my left. I don't know why. It's just we don't play it enough or something, but it's like R1. I'm like, that's right 1. Got it. Okay. All right, let's play this. I'm already dead. Okay. I was supposed to press X. Got it. Crap, that's square. Okay, X. Got it.
I don't know. I mean, that's just, again, a lot of what we're saying about that. Well, all of this is personal preference.
Right.
But that's one thing, like, if I were to get one of those adapters and I started playing with keyboard and mouse for everything, wouldn't have that problem anymore.
Everything's computer. I got it. I really wonder how you would do.
I am super curious. Like I'm really curious how I would do. But I think prior to me getting a hub like that, I'm going to get one of those ones where I have that joystick on the left with the few keys and then my mouse in my right hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's gonna be like the pinnacle of my skill level as far as like different controllers and things like that, is going to be that kind of hybrid method.
If you go into that, you're literally gonna be, I'm PC master race and I'm never going back to console.
No, because honestly, like, I still love my Xbox. Like, there's things I love about Xbox that's never gonna change. I mean, PlayStation, I mean, you can crucify me for this if you want, audience, but I'm never gonna be a big PlayStation guy. That's just hands down. Like,
I'll take them out back. Let's burn them.
If it weren't for Last of Us, there's a good chance I would never bought a PlayStation 4. Which is funny because I've owned every other PlayStation. But, like, you and I both know that we rarely turn our PlayStations on.
Yeah. Which is going to be actually changing because for next month's free games. Just Cause 3 is going to be free for PlayStation.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That's another thing I've liked about PlayStation is their free games have been a lot better than Microsoft's.
Oh, yeah. Well, but Microsoft used to do good at it. Now they're just kind of like, nah, we don't care as much anymore. So
yeah, here's a indie game, or here's this type of game.
Which I will say, I kind of like that. I wish they would do like one good game and one indie game, because I like that they do the indie games strictly because like they are helping to promote whatever company made that game. Because there's not a ton that we found but there are games that I tried just because they're on there that normally I wouldn't even consider looking at. You know what I mean?
Right. But yeah, to me, the selection's been weird lately. But so here's another question: versus mouse versus controller. With the mouse and stuff, are you gonna get like you said, you have a mouse with actual buttons and stuff on that? Do you think that would be a faster reaction time versus just the controller and the buttons? So say, okay, I've got a mouse that I can do crouch, sprint, or crouch, select guns or something like that. Like there's there's mouses that have the 9 programmable buttons or however many you want. Would you say that would be faster than a controller? Because again, you're just moving your thumb.
It's about the same as a controller, I would say, as far as like crouching, prone, stuff like that.
Here's another question I just thought of. Have you ever tried to play a video game with a ball mouse? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and no, because that's stupid. That's not what they're made for. You're the only idiot that I've ever met that has tried that, and you hated it.
You haven't tried it? Come on, it's fun.
No, it's stupid.
You can have quick reaction times. Just spin that ball. Go.
I just want you to go to Battlegrounds. Get a frying pan, hold it up in front of you, and then just take that ball mouse and just continuously spin it. Like,
it'd be great on Mario Party. Spin that mouse, yeah!
Oh my gosh.
Instead of just like spinning it, like, doing that on Mario Party, just take the ball mouse and just spin it like crazy. That'd be awesome.
I mean, you would I don't think the N64 could process that many, like, rotations. I really don't.
I'd break it. Now, but the one thing is like, okay, so with that ball mouse, like, literally, all I have to do is move my thumb versus moving my wrist. Now, people have said, moving your wrist is more of when I move my wrist, I can stop it. Like, there's more muscles to control the stop versus, moving your thumb.
So here's the thing. You're moving your thumb for the ball, right? But even if you went from very edge of where the ball's at all the way to the other side of the edge of where the ball's at, that's still less rotation. Like, let's say you were getting shot at from behind, you literally have to move your thumb all the way over, let go, come back, move your thumb all the way over.
Well, that all depends, again, on the sensitivity.
Right, which I understand, but it's never going to be, okay, but then if you up the sensitivity in that regards, you're not going to be able to make those minute changes, like when you're scoped in, the smallest little move, if you have your sensitivity high enough to where that small of a motion turns you all the way around, when you're scoped in, that any tiny motion is still going to translate into big movements.
Right.
Which is the same problem you have with the console. Like, a ball mouse, I would say, is almost identical to, like, movement types and stuff like that a controller is.
Because to me...
Difference being, with the controller, you can hold right, and you'll keep turning. With a ball mouse, it'd literally be like, turn, 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 turn. And that's how you have to do it.
True. But, I mean, it's still almost on the same principle, because literally that controller is on a ball. You just have the stick above it.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. If you hold that, if you can't hold the ball mouse, though, it doesn't work like that. You can't move it to the right and just hold it and have your character keep turning.
So let's change it to where that is a possibility. Would that be a better solution to have, say, the joystick? So it'd be almost like a mouse.
Have a joystick then.
Well, it'd almost be like a mouse hybrid. So it would still be the left click, right click. Just take out the ball and put a joystick where your thumb is. Do you think that would be a more comfortable solution?
For who? For me? No.
For any. You don't think you'd like that?
No, I would not. Because I might as well have a controller at that point.
Well, yeah, but you're saying that you want to get the joystick on your left.
Mm-hmm.
That's still going to be movement.
Right. But that's so like I have what I call critical movement and just movement. Movement is like WASD. Left shift for sprint, C for crouch, space for jump.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call like movement, but not critical movement. To me, critical movement is I'm in an engagement and I gotta have, the freedom to move quickly, the freedom to move slowly, whatever I need to do at that moment in time. That's why like with my mouse that I have, I love that I can be super fast, but if I need to slow down, all I do is literally just squeeze in with my thumb and press that button that's in the little slot for my thumb, and it slows me down if I need to. Like that is the most critical function I've ever had in any controller, mouse, keyboard, anything. That has helped me more on RTS, FPS, every game I've ever played, I've used that function at some point or another.
So you're more going to, again, this is getting back to the controller versus keyboard. You're saying that the keyboard will always be superior to the controller.
I will say the mouse is more superior to the controller. Keyboard, I could take or leave easily. I like the customization that I can do with the keyboard just because it, like you said, like your grid layout for StarCraft.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't, because they make RTSs for
console,
but they suck because you don't have enough key combinations to do everything that would make it good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so, again, but in that regards, like, it's well, I mean, and yeah, you're right. All of this is opinion, but that the customization of the keyboard is.
You hear that? All of this is opinion, so don't rape us in the comments.
Yeah. So the customization for the keyboard is great, but I will always be more comfortable with a controller in my left hand, like in that joystick, and
mm-hmm.
Because again, you and I grew up on console. We didn't grow up on PC, and so that is always going to be like my roots, what I'm comfortable with. But I will say having that mouse and like the abilities of a mouse over a joystick for my my actual aiming and everything like that is a very seductive idea. Just because again, I love competitive gaming,
mm-hmm.
a lot more, and I think that's why like I won't say we have differing opinions, but why I feel a lot more strongly about the mouse than you do is because I like having the competitive edge that the mouse gives me.
Right. Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Is basically you want the sensitivity of the mouse and stuff for, like you said, critical movement and stuff. Mm. For me, as the casual gamer, I couldn't care either way because of the fact that, again, I'm just going off into a dungeon fighting NPCs or whatever. I don't need to, like, oh my god, fling around and shoot the guy behind me.
I think. Well, you and I, as a duo in Battlegrounds, I always come back to Battlegrounds because I love Battlegrounds right now. But as a duo in Battlegrounds, I feel like if we were to get you on a controller, and then I'd stay on, like, either get my hybrid or stay on keyboard and mouse, I feel like that'll be the pinnacle of our skill level in Battlegrounds. Because I think a lot of times you still aren't used to enough the mouse. Because, I mean, obviously I play, Battlegrounds or just like PC FPSs way more than you do, even now. The only time you play is when I'm making you play. Kind of like I only play like games you have to grind when you make me play. But I feel like if I could get you on a controller in Battlegrounds,
I might like the game more.
Well, I think you would do better, and I think that's why you don't like Battlegrounds that much, is because
I'm just like joining in to be like, hey Aaron, how's it going? Yeah, oh, by the way, I'm dead again.
Either you're my bait, or you get stuck by yourself because I'm trying to cover you, and I get killed trying to cover you.
Most of the time it's bait, because I'm just running off going, find him, Aaron, find him!
Yeah, so many of our videos, it's literally like, alright, hold on, I know there's a guy there, just wait a second. Nope, I'm just gonna run out. Hopefully he shoots at me and you can see him. And it's like, no, stop! Idiot!
And then I still like the what?
How many games has it been, like, squad and duo, where I am solo anywhere near the end, or every time near the end, because you do something stupid and just take off.
Hey, the last time we played, there's been many games in the beginning where you died and I was solo. And then, I would either finish the game or I'd take out a grenade and kill myself because I'd be bored.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to say about Battlegrounds. one thing you might be right. One thing I think that's preventing me from actually like really enjoying a game like that is the fact that because I'm on a keyboard, it's because the fact that I'm constantly like, okay, I need to switch weapons, and I have to actually look down to see where the button is, rather than at a controller, I'm just comfortable to just go, hey, hold B to change weapons or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if you just, Bluetooth your controller to your computer and played it with a controller, I think, one, we would do better in general, and two, you'd enjoy it more. I think that's something we need to try. Now that we're actually talking about it, I really want you to hook your controller to your computer now. I hadn't really thought about that until just now, but now that I am, I'm like, man, I feel like that would solve all my problems for trying to get you to play Battlegrounds.
Even still, I'd be like, Aaron, I'm dead again.
But at least I genuinely do think you would enjoy it more if you had a controller. Reason being, you would do better.
Yeah, to me, if I had the ability, because now that I'm, like I said before, now that the fact that I'm starting to get was when we start to get into engagement, I go into first person. If I could just have that ability, like, because there was a kill yesterday that you saved me on, was when I was in third person. I was inside of a building underneath a staircase, and the fact that he opened up the door right in front of me right as I turned around, I wanted to go into first person so badly, but I was such in a panic that I knew I didn't have time to look down and find the button, that I just turned around and started hip firing to scare him away from the doorway, and then you came up behind him and killed him.
Yeah.
But it's just for the fact that if I had a controller that I could just, click a button that I'm comfortable with to quickly snap me into first person, shoot the guy, and then come back out. To me, like you said, I might do better. I might like the game, but that also to me is a failed mechanic of the game, that it's better to actually engage in first person than actually play the game like it was made in third.
Well, but they added that first person in for things like that. And just like they're, with this on August 3rd, they're adding first person mode only. Yeah. You can't go into third person.
We'll get into that in a different video.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, they are addressing those mechanics that, but yeah, you're right. It's outside the realm of, like, keyboard, mouse, but it isn't because, like you said, you have to look down to change your field of vision.
Yeah.
Which again comes into that comfort level with keyboard as opposed to controller. Like me, because when we first started playing Battlegrounds, I was like that, where I wasn't good enough to know, like, I want to change from single to full auto. I had to, like, look down for a second because I would hit, X instead of V or, something like that. And, it'd screw me all up. But now I'm at the point where I've played enough to where, at least for Battlegrounds in particular, because I'm so familiar with what keys are what now, that I can do it without looking. I can do it quickly. And unfortunately, you're just not at that point. So at this moment in time, I'd say...
One thing I've thought about doing is, taking the time to actually go in and actually change up my key layout to something that's more comfortable with me. So, say Q was, go into first person or something like that instead of the contextual lean, which I barely do anyways. And
which you need to do more.
Yeah, I know.
You die a lot less.
But I'm just saying, like, go in and actually change the key out so I don't have to stretch my thumb to something more comfortable like F or whatever. But it's something I've never done. With the mouse, I have upped the sensitivity on it, but I mean, one thing I might do is, just for the fact of, go in there sometime and just up it to max and just see what that's like, and then either
I don't even have it close to max.
Well, up it to max and then see if, one, I like it, or if it's too fast, or two, just say screw it and get used to it.
I think you'll like it until you get into your first, like, panic engagement, and then you're gonna just be like and not be able to do anything because you can't aim to save your life.
So, final verdict on keyboard versus mouse, for your opinion.
My opinion,
pros and cons.
My opinion, I think. Okay, so, like, we'll talk. I'll do this, like, as if I were playing against myself.
Okay.
I would beat myself if I had a keyboard and mouse, and against a controller, the keyboard and mouse would beat myself with the controller, if that makes any sense.
Because of
the ability to react quicker to, any type of situation where, I'm getting in an engagement. Like, let's say I was 1v1ing myself and controller self started shooting at, keyboard and mouse self from behind. I can spin around and engage faster than if, it were reverse, where keyboard and mouse me engage controller me. I would have to take cover before I could turn and actually figure out where the engagement was coming from. And then, so for me personally, I will say, I think that I perform better with a mouse and keyboard now than I do controller in competitive gameplay. I will still say controller is more comfortable than keyboard and mouse for casual play. And now that we've talked about it, I'm really interested to see how a hybrid setup would go for me.
For me, I have no problems with either of them. It depends on the game for me. So, like, with StarCraft, like I said before, I changed my layout and I like it better. And I'm comfortable with, I can look down at the grid and know exactly where it is on my keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to actually look down at my keyboard. But for playing something like Battlegrounds, where it's more competitive, for some reason in that game, like, I feel like there's too many buttons for me to press. I gotta change, the fire rate on my gun. I gotta go to first person. I gotta hit F to pick up this stuff, and then, like, I'm constantly just, like, moving my thumb or my forefinger around the area. Yeah. So for me, it's more. It depends on the game for me. I'm comfortable with both, but like we said before, since we don't play PC enough, I'm not as fully comfortable as the controller.
Yeah.
But I'm still fine with it. Again, I'm the more casual player and not the competitive one. I don't care to quickly zoom around and shoot somebody in the face.
Yeah. So you don't care to. You just don't have enough practice with it to be comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately it kind of comes down to comfort level rather than is it better or is it worse. Because if you took the time to get comfortable with the keyboard and mouse,
right,
I feel like,
if we constantly, said, hey, we're done with console, all we're playing is PC games, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, eventually I'm going to get to the point where I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah. Just
because I'm forcing myself to constantly do it over and over and over and over. But I lost track of what I was going to say. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Do you like mouse and keyboard? Do you like the controller? Do you like Aaron was talking about here? Do you like a hybrid setup? Are you using a hybrid setup? Another thing too would be do you use the Elite controllers? That's something we didn't talk about too. Was the Elite controllers? So let us know in the comments below what you like. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.